So what's your name?
Ethan.
Hunter.
Okay, nice to meet you guys. So what do you guys consider success for yourself?
I consider success for myself just being able to excel whatever I choose to be in.
Can you say that again? I'm sorry, the wind kind of caught up.
Whatever I choose to be in when I excel in that.
Okay, what about you?
All right, success. Dang, that's a really tough one. I have to say, success is overall just being happy with the current state in which I am at, whether it be my relationship with my friends, family, grades, academics, any and all things that I'm in. If I'm happy with it, that's when I'm successful.
So let's create a hypothetical where you're not happy, where you're unhappy with your surroundings, right? So let's say you're not where you want to be and you want to be better. Do you think that you should accept where you're at and be happy, or do you think that misery and kind of being unhappy with your surroundings can be beneficial?
So the way I look at it is that instead of being miserable and looking at it as a bad thing, I see it as using it as a motivator, kind of, to push yourself into saying, I don't want this. I want to change. Fuel yourself with that misery. Change it into something you can use for your benefit.
So that's actually a sentiment I can agree with. So interesting thing about me, I was homeless. I've been evicted twice. I am now a real estate agent. I work at a factory. I'm a basketball coach. I made over 90K this year. And honestly, one of the things is that fire behind me, everything that I've went through in my past, that's kind of fueled me to get better. And I'm constantly running away from that. So my next question for you guys is, what do you think an average person is?
I feel like an average person, they might choose to kind of stay in that area, but there's a few that try to go up and beyond yourself that might try to overcome their past troubles.
Okay, so I'm going to catch your wording up a little bit. So you say that the average person is someone who's comfortable, they don't really thrive. Then you said a few thrive for better, right? So wouldn't that make that few not average? Because average is 50%. So if there's 10% that thrive for better, 10% that thrive for more, then automatically they would be unaverage, right?
Yeah, I'd probably say that.
Okay. And what is an average person for you?
So I see average as two different things. There's the statistical average of just your regular run-of-the-mill guy. But looking at it in practice, I see an average person as something that actually doesn't exist. No one's average, because I see average as normal. No one's normal. We're all weird in our own ways. We all have our unique traits about us. But statistically, it's just hey, do you meet the regular benchmark of what everyone else meets? There's two ways to look at it. I don't know. It's really hard to describe that.
Okay, so in the traditional sense, in the statistical sense of average, right? When we're looking at it, do you think it's beneficial for a person to be average?
In some ways, yes. In some ways, no. Because sometimes I feel like being part of the bigger percentage makes it a little bit better. But I feel like there's some cases where being apart from the crowd can make you just excel maybe a little bit better than the others, be a little bit more different, that kind of thing.
Kind of bouncing off that idea with the yes and no, it's yes, it's beneficial in terms of, okay, if you stand out above the crowd, it means you're noticed more. But that also comes with its own cons of, if you're noticed more, it means you have the potential to get more heat or negative aspects towards you, because you're the focus point of everything.
That is true. I do think as you go up, people tend to hate you more. But I always try to keep in mind that hate never comes from above. Right? So it's hey, these people, they all notice what I'm doing and they judge me for what I'm doing, but hey, I'm doing better than they are, right? I have this, I've been able to do this. And then kind of pulling back on that, I don't necessarily think success is necessarily having a lot of money. I don't think success is necessarily having a lot of stuff. I always view it like this. Tony Robbins says that in order to truly be happy, you need to constantly grow as a person. So you need to set goals, accomplish those goals, and set more goals, right? You need to constantly get higher. So the person with $1 billion and is no longer getting better will never be as happy as the person who was broke, but getting better each day, right? So I really try to inspire people to do better than they were yesterday, right? The 1% better each day sentiment. Can you guys describe people who you think would be successful?
People I consider to be successful is just, the working class people. The ones that, even though they don't have much, they're always trying to get better. They're not, content of where they are as a person right then and there.
Right. So when so you say working class, but you mean people who are in the working class but not comfortable. Just hey, I'm going to go to work every day and pay my bills, then go home. Then they're kind of comfortable where they're at. You mean people who are constantly, even if they are working class and they are kind of working like the regular 9 to 5, they're still trying to move up in that.
Yeah. They're like they might be taking like double shifts or something like that. Something just get them a little bit better than where they're at right then.
Yeah. I mean, I agree with that. I think anyone who works 40 hours a week isn't working enough. But that's me. So can you describe a successful person?
I say a successful person in my books would just be someone who sets goals for themselves, someone who knows like what they want to do and what they want to accomplish, someone who's not just going to sit there and be like, this is just my life, I'm going to take it. They want to, like, they set something. It's like it's not just saying, oh, I want to go home and do my math homework type of goal. It's a goal of saying, okay, by the end of the year I want to lose 20 pounds type things. Those kind of goals, that to me is a successful person.
So if I can build on that, so what I would say that you just said is accountability, right? So we have this thing on the podcast where we say accountability is an acknowledgement that you can do better, and then discipline is the act of doing better. So you said accountability, and I think a lot of people, they look in the mirror and they say, hey, I can do better, but then they never actually do it.
New Year's resolution of going to the gym. It's like, all right, I'm gonna go to the gym this year. First month, you excel at it. February, where you at?
Yeah, and they quit, and they quit. So discipline is the action. So when you said someone who knows their goals, I know what you mean, and I know you mean people who actually act on it. I just wanted to clarify that. So that's all. Hey guys, I mean, thank you. Do you guys have any socials you want to plug? Anything you want to plug? Businesses? Da 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 da.
I don't think so. Not really.
I do actually. So there's this thing called Movember. It's not No Shave November, but it's an annual event where guys will start the first of the month completely clean shaven, right? And we grow out our mustaches in order to promote men's mental health, suicide rate, prostate cancer, and testicular cancer. Movember is the leading charity for men's overall health and general well-being. Last year alone, they raised $89.5 million and then distributed to 1,250 different organizations. So if you guys find somebody who's promoting Movember, I would donate to them, because let's face it, men's mental health is on a decline, and that's why I got this now. I'm growing out the stash. I'm trying to help out men. It's Men's Mental Health Month. We should take care of that.
I can actually agree with that. So one of the reasons we do this is because obviously we're young men, right? And there's another guy that's a part of our team. He's not able to be with us. So obviously we're young men. So I do think we relate to men more than we do women, just naturally. And I do notice that men's suicide rates are higher, men's depression rates are higher. And it's one of those things that we try to reach out to people and tell them, like I always say, that depression has a cure most of the time, right? There's a very big difference between feeling depressed and being depressed. I think a lot of people feel depressed because of their surroundings, kind of like what you was talking about, not being happy with where you are. And I always tell people, hey man, you can make that better, right? You can work to make that better, and it might be hard, it might be difficult, but you got to wake up and do the things you don't want to do, and eventually it'll get better. And that's something that we really get behind, and that's something we really follow. And I really thank you guys for having this interview. This interview should go up, I think it's the 24th. The first podcast actually airs on the 19th. So let's start with y'all's names. What's your name?
Adam.
Grace, Jenny, Katie, Rayleigh.
Okay, it's really nice to meet you guys. And guys, feel free to have discourse. Since this is such a big group, feel free to have discourse. So we love you. So the first question is, what do you consider success for yourself?
Just getting a job in the future. I want to be wealthy.
You want to?
I want to have money.
So I'm gonna ask you a couple of questions, right? And I'm sorry, but this is a really good answer, because you said just getting a job. Do you know what job you want?
Not really. I want to be outside environmental conservation type of stuff,
So what's more important, a job or money?
Probably money.
Okay, money.
If I could just have money, I would love it.
Okay, so listen, this podcast is gonna be great for you. I do multiple things. I invest. The podcast will be great for you, and I'll probably come back and grill you on that a little bit more. But I want to continue. So, what is success for you?
Being happy with what I'm doing.
My answer, Grace.
Oh, okay, so your answer is being happy too.
Yeah, that's my answer. Being happy.
What about you?
Just being happy and helping people.
What about you?
I want to have a successful job and have a nice life with my fiance.
Okay, so there's two questions I want to ask. I want to ask you guys first. Do you guys know what happiness looks like? Are you happy right now?
I think I'm happy right now.
You think you're happy, so you're not even sure. What about you?
I'm happy. I'm happy right now.
Okay, so you would already be successful.
Yeah.
Okay, and then what is a successful job?
Just anything in my career field. I'm a Homeland Security major, so Secret Service, FBI, all that fun shit.
Okay, so well, you can listen. On our last podcast, I dropped the F-bomb like 7 times. I had to ask my co-host, because he's not here with us today. I had to ask my co-host. I was like, hey, how many times did I say it? He was like 6. I was like, shh, I got to edit that out. So my next question is, what is an average person?
I don't know. Just someone that's around you. I don't know. I really don't know what the average person is.
I feel like a 9 to 5, like a 9 to 5 with like 2, 3 kids who kind of hates their life but is kind of okay with their life. That's an average person.
She just threw the kids under the bus like what?
Not super happy.
Happy but not unhappy.
Just satisfied.
Satisfied.
What?
Okay, so I think it's interesting that you guys said satisfied, not overly happy, not too happy. Can you be satisfied and happy at the same time? Do you think that once you accomplish a certain level that you can just stay at that level forever and just be okay with it?
I think so. I'd say I'm satisfied all the time. I'm not super happy, but I'm satisfied.
I feel like if it's like monotonous, like the same thing over and over, you'll become unsatisfied. But if that makes you happy, then yeah, you can.
I think just you can be satisfied and happy at the same time, but not about the same thing. Okay, this sounds corny, but like satisfaction is like a personal trait. So if you're happy with your life, you kind of have to find that in yourself. Like other things aren't going to bring that to you.
I think satisfaction is very subjective, and you can be satisfied, but you don't have to be happy. And there's a significant difference between satisfied and genuinely happy.
Sorry.
Okay, so I like that answer, and I think a couple of you guys kind of touched that. I think that Tony Robbins has a great idea of happiness and how to achieve happiness, and obviously that's what we try to do with our podcast is teach people that. So Tony Robbins says that people that are satisfied can never truly be happy because people always want more. We're always going to want to thrive for more. So I always inspire people to set goals, accomplish those goals, and create new goals. He explains it like, once you get a job, you're really happy and you're excited and you love going to work. But after a couple of months, it's like, oh, shit, I got to go back to work. You know what I'm saying? So that always happens to people. Just to open some discourse with you, you want to make money. Do you know how you're going to make money?
I do not. That's why I'm here.
You're-
I'm in college. So
You're in college? You're in college to figure that out?
Pretty much, yeah. I'm trying to figure out what I want to do. I'm still a freshman, so I want to know.
Did you pay for college?
Yep, it's all out of my pocket.
How much?
Fuck.
You don't gotta disclose it if you don't want to.
It's like 12 grand a year.
Okay, so you
Semester? 12 grand a semester.
okay, so you spent 12 grand and you don't know why you're here.
Figuring it out. I'm hoping this helps me, because if it doesn't, it's gonna be screwed.
So, again, I don't want to steer you in any bad directions, but I'll give you some of my experiences. So I went to college for a year. I went to Northern Kentucky. I spent $12,000. I went there for a year, and then I dropped out. I did not go back. I did not complete college. My first couple of years of my life, I ended up, struggling a lot, and then it clicked how to make money, right? And I actually understood that college was not necessary. I understood that I was in college for a career that I did not want. I was going in for psychology. I wanted to be a therapist. I don't want to be a therapist. I think that would be extremely difficult. I'm now making I'm going to eclipse over 90K this year. I'm doing a lot. I'm working a lot. So if you really want to make a lot of money, you really want to be successful, what you got to understand is it's not going to happen working 40 hours, right? So I'm putting in 60 to 80 hours every single week for real estate. I work at a factory. I'm a basketball coach, and now I'm starting this podcast. So I urge you, you're already here. You already paid. Finish, right? At least finish this year. I would really urge you to explore new things and explore different fields. That way you can actually get out and you can figure out what you want to do. One thing we are going to talk about on the podcast is how 18-year-olds are really encouraged to go to college straight from high school, and 18 is extremely young. And they go to college straight from high school, and then they spend 4 years in college, get out of college, and they don't know what they're doing. I always encourage 18-year-olds, know why you're going to college before you go, right? If you need to take a year or two exploring different fields, doing some internships and figuring it out, that's not going to cost you 12 grand. You know what I'm saying? And again, that's just advice. Take it if you want to take it. Agree if you want to agree. Disagree if you want to agree. It's all just discourse. It's all just ideas. So thank you guys. You guys have anything you want to say?
I'm big with that, yeah.
All right. You guys want to tell everyone to stop being bums and get off their asses and actually work?
Fucking work. Sorry, I dropped an F-bomb.
It's okay. Listen, we can have one a video. That's our one. You're the first one to do it. Heck yeah. Okay. No.
Get off your ass.
Say what? I did say that. I did say that earlier. No, they were lame though.
No, literally, like, get off your ass and work. You're young. Utilize that. Get off your ass. Please just get a job.
Be like. Hey, Seth. He's 19. He's getting into real estate. He's working a job. He works a lot. Whatever. Seth is great. Seth is amazing. Thank you guys. I really appreciate it. We really appreciate it. So the first podcast episode actually drops on the 19th. That is 2 weeks from tomorrow. So my first question for you is, what would make you successful?
Happiness.
Passing the NCLEX, yeah.
Yeah,
We're all in nursing school.
going to Eglin Air Force Base.
Yes. Yeah. Living in Destin together.
Okay. So what makes an average person?
Someone who doesn't give all their effort. Someone who doesn't give all their effort.
Someone who accepts less than what they should.
Someone who's kind of okay with like mainstream life, like a job they're okay with but doesn't love, a life they're okay with but don't love. Yeah.
They settle themselves.
Okay. So what do you think creates happiness?
Surrounding yourself with good people and being like healthy mentally.
How do you stay healthy mentally?
Take care of yourself and like your
You find things
environment.
you love.
Be aware.
Yeah, you find things you're passionate about and
Talk
go after
about
that.
Okay, so I love your answer, and I love being around good people too, because I think having good people around you is really important. So we listen to a guy, his name's Tony Robbins, right? He's someone who we look up to and admire quite a bit, and he says that the key to happiness is actually growth, right? So you want to set goals, you want to thrive for those goals, and after you get those, you want to go higher. It's like getting a new job, right? After you get a new job, and I'm sure you will all be nurses one day, and eventually, and when you be and when you become nurses, eventually I think that's going to start to wear, and it's going to be like, at first, yeah, I love it. I love going into work and I love what I'm doing, but eventually it's going to get old and it's going to be like, okay, now I got to go back to work. So I'm really encouraged to, keep thriving for goals. Obviously that's your goal now and that's what you need to work for, right? But keep setting those goals and keep thriving to do better. So the last question I want to ask is, what is a successful, or who is a successful person?
Like, you want me to name someone?
You can name someone, you can describe it.
Someone who has like a healthy work-life balance, who's like happy with what they're doing, like in their like spot in life.
They're not stagnant. Yeah.
They're planning on the future still.
I think someone who goes to bed at night happy with the day they've had and like excited for the day tomorrow.
day.
Like, they're not
Not
just
dreading the next day.
Yeah. Flashlights on.
It actually shined in my eye earlier, and I just kind of ignored it.
Oh, sorry.
No, it's fine. I'm in the zone. I do this. What do you mean? So no, we appreciate you girls doing the interview. Thank you for stopping. I thought you girls were just gonna walk by and not do anything.
We just didn't want to we
were kind of on a mission, but then
Yeah,
we were like,
we are.
well,
But we're going
Hey.
back on our mission.
I hope you complete your mission. Thank you, girls. I appreciate it. We
Podcast.
it's been a great night. And like obviously our goal here is to inspire people and help them build themselves up and become better. So I'll start by asking what your name is.
Brighton Turley.
Okay, and obviously you're an officer, and obviously we appreciate that. Thank you for your service. The very first question I want to ask you is, do you see yourself as successful?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, so why do you see yourself that way?
I'm happy.
Okay.
Simple as that.
Okay, yeah, so we really like to break down and get into these questions, so these get a little harder as it goes on. So you say you're happy. Do you understand what makes you happy and why you're happy?
Sure, I do.
Okay, can you explain that to us?
My family, my faith, my career.
Do you think that every day you wake up that you're improving in these areas and you're making these areas better?
That's a tough one. I don't know if I could say every day I'm improving, but I try to.
Okay, so every day you thrive for greater. And the reason I ask that is because we listen to a guy, his name's Tony Robbins. I don't know if you know who he is, but he always says that happiness truly lies in growth, right? So when you think about like getting a new job or getting a promotion, like you're really happy and you're really excited at first, and after a couple months it's like, now I got to go back to this job. But if you keep thriving and setting goals and reaching those goals and creating more goals, that you'll never really get bored, you'll never really get complacent, right? Is that something you agree with? Do you have comments? Do you think differently?
I agree with that. I've been doing this job for 6 years now, and it's not something that I've gotten bored with yet. It's still something that I get excited to come to work and do.
Right, and just to add, do you feel pleasure serving people? Do you feel like you're giving back to the world in some way?
Yeah, absolutely. I find a lot of fulfillment through my career.
Yeah, and that's really what we're talking about here, right? Is fulfillment and growing, and that's a sentiment that we can definitely get behind. What do you think the average person is?
As far as what? As far as
Just a general description of the average person in your eyes. Who like what is average?
that's a very vague question. Average.
So, it's kind of it's one of these questions, and it's kind of I know it's vague and it's open to interpretation. Typically, when we ask it, we get a general answer of what people think the average person is. So, 50% of the people you see in your life, right? What do you think like? In their mindset that they have in common, the way they think, the way they act, like what do they have in common with each other?
I think overall, the average person is pretty complacent, like you were talking to. We get comfortable and we don't like change. So I think that would be probably the thing that most people have in common is getting to a place where you're comfortable and not wanting to change what's going on in your life, whether that be for the better or for the worse.
Yeah, and that is actually the typical answer we get is complacency, is comfortability, and they don't feel like they want to grow and get better. Can you describe a successful person for me?
I think someone that sets goals, like you were talking about, always has something that they're working towards. They never get to a place where they're just done. They're always constantly trying to change and grow and become a better person.
Yeah, and obviously that's what we think. Someone that's willing to learn, someone that's willing to grow, someone that's willing to get better. I mean, that's all the questions, man. Thank you. He's really been wanting us to interview an officer. He's wanting to get you guys' mindset.
Interview than me, but
well, no, like I think you gave really good answers. Like we've gotten some crazy stuff today, right? We've gotten some people that's just like, I'll just take it one day at a time and not figure out what they want. We obviously advise against that because we think to achieve happiness, you need to know what happiness is, and you need to know, how to get there. If you just kind of take life one day at a time, you could end up anywhere in the world, right? It could be a happy place, but it could be a bad place. So there's obviously things you should strive for. But thank you for the interview, man. We appreciate it. Again, we're Faith is Motivation. You can find us on everything.